Here in El Paso, extreme summer heat isn't a surprise weather event, it's basically the entire growing season. Once we start stacking up those 100-degree days, even plants that normally love the sun begin to struggle. Containers dry out almost immediately, the leaves start to curl, and the flowers disappear. It can feel like almost every drop of water evaporates before it even reaches the roots. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So whenever I come across gardening advice for surviving a heat wave, I always ask myself the same simple question. Would this actually work in a dry and hot backyard like ours? Well, I recently found several unusual ideas that sounded promising. Some immediately made sense, one sounded a little bit ridiculous, and one connected perfectly to a watering system we're already using here in the garden. So let's break down 5 clever ways to help you garden through a heat wave and see which one of these are actually worth trying. Let's check it out. This first idea begins before you even step outside. The next time you boil vegetables, rice, or pasta, don't automatically pour all that water down the drain. Instead, place a large bowl beneath the colander and save it. Once it's cooled completely, that water can be used to give one of your thirsty plants a nice drink. But there are a few very important rules here. The water cannot contain any salt, cooking oil, sauces, seasoning, butter, or pretty much anything else you wouldn't normally pour into your garden soil. This primarily works because you're taking water that would normally be wasted and giving it one more useful job. Use it the same day and pour it directly onto the soil rather than over the leaves. I'd also be careful with extremely thick or cloudy pasta water. If it looks more like gravy than water, I probably wouldn't repeatedly use it. Now, this isn't going to replace your normal watering routine, but during a long heat wave, every usable drop starts to matter. This next idea might be the strangest one on the list. These are wool dryer balls. Normally, you throw them into the dryer to help separate your clothes and to reduce drying time. But because these are made from 100% natural wool, I wanted to see whether we could turn them into a small moisture holding amendment for a flower pot. And just to be clear, I'm using a brand new dryer ball, not one that's already been tumbling around with fabric softener, dryer sheets, fragrant oils, or anything else you wouldn't want in the garden. Natural wool fibers can absorb water and release that moisture gradually as the surrounding material begins to dry. Gardeners can already buy wool pellets and loose sheep's wool for containers and raised beds. But this 2-pack of dryer balls cost me less than $6 at Walmart, so it might be a great low-cost alternative. I'm soaking one new 100% wool dryer ball, cutting it into small pieces, and mixing a small amount evenly through the potting soil. I'll keep the wool away from the stem, water the plant normally, and see whether it helps the container stay moist longer during the heat. And if you're also trying to make every drop count during these brutally hot summers, you're exactly who we're making these videos for. Like this video and subscribe to Western Sun Garden because we'll keep testing practical ideas like this to see which ones work best. This goes a long way in helping a small channel like ours grow. This next idea could save a lot more water than just one pot of leftover cooking water. Our washing machine is located out here in the garage, and every time we run a load, all of that water normally disappears straight down the drain. So during this stretch of extreme heat and drought, we're trying a very simple temporary version of a laundry greywater system. The first step is using the right detergent. It should be biodegradable and plant-friendly, but more specifically, it needs to be low in sodium and contain no borax, boron, chlorine bleach, or fabric softener. For an appropriate load, we're temporarily moving the washing machine drain hose into this clean trash can and securing it so it can't jump out once the water begins pumping. This is only a temporary capture container, not a storage tank. As soon as the load is finished, we'll use the water around the soil beneath established trees and ornamental bushes that don't produce food. Laundry greywater should be applied directly to the soil and used promptly rather than allowed to sit in a container. Eventually, we'd love to install a proper laundry to landscape system with a diverter valve and plumbing that sends the water directly beneath the mulch around several of our established plants. But during a drought, this simple temporary method allows the same water to wash our clothes and then to perform one more useful job before it leaves our property. Once we're finished, the hose goes straight back into the normal drain before the next load. During a heat wave, stop treating every container like it needs its own perfectly styled location. Move them together and let the plants help protect one another. When containers are clustered into a group, the pots and foliage can begin to cast shade on each other. This microclimate also helps the plants retain moisture. This can reduce the amount of direct sunlight hitting the sides of the containers, slow down some of the drying caused by wind, and create a slightly more protective pocket of air around the plants. Think of it like building a small container neighborhood. Place your thirstiest and most heat-sensitive plants closer to the center. Place your tougher, more drought-tolerant containers around the outside. You can make this even more effective by moving the entire group toward the eastern side of your house, underneath the edge of a patio, or into an area that gets morning sun, but some protection during the late afternoon. Just don't pack everything so tightly that the foliage has no airflow. Leave a little breathing room, but close enough that the plants provide some protection for their neighbors. It may not look like the final arrangement you imagined for your patio, but during a heat wave, survival is more important than interior decorating. If a plant is struggling with the hottest part of the day, look around your house before buying any expensive shade structure. A patio umbrella, a beach umbrella, an old bed sheet, a folding chair, a piece of breathable fabric, or even a shower curtain can become a temporary emergency shade. Buying a cheap shower curtain with some of those cheap hooks, it's worked really well on our conduit shade structure that we have right here, and we can quickly and easily move the shade in and out of place, just like in the shower. Now the goal here is not to place your plants in complete darkness. You're simply trying to reduce the intensity of the late afternoon sun in the most dangerous part of the day. And here's a really important reminder, make sure to position the material above the plant so that the air can continue to move underneath it. Young transplants, tender vegetables, newly planted flowers, and containers with dark colored pots would probably benefit the most. It might look a little ridiculous. Your backyard may look like a yard sale lost a fight, but your plants don't care. If a shower curtain buys a newly planted tomato 3 or 4 hours of relief during an extreme afternoon heat, the curtain's doing its job. Once a heat wave passes, take the temporary cover down and gradually return the plants to their normal amount of sunlight. Everything we've discussed so far today helps us collect more water, hold on to moisture, or to protect plants from direct sunlight. But there's still one major problem. When you pour water onto extremely hot, dry soil, the surface gets the first opportunity to steal it. Some of that moisture evaporates, some runs away from the plant, and sometimes only the upper layer of soil gets wet while the rest of the deeper root zone remains dry. That's why we started experimenting with root straws. A root straw is a section of PVC pipe installed vertically beside a plant. Instead of applying all the water across the surface, you can feed water directly into the pipe and direct it deeper into the soil. And if you're watching us on your TV and you'd like to follow along with our future projects, we put a QR code right up here on the screen. Just scan it with your phone and it'll take you straight to our YouTube channel so you don't miss what's coming up next. Gardening through a heat wave isn't about somehow making the middle of summer feel like spring. It's about reducing stress, limiting unnecessary water loss, and helping your plants hold on until better weather arrives. And every idea we've covered today follows the same basic rule: collect more water, lose less of it, and put it where it will do the most good. But even if you collect water, group your containers, and throw a shower curtain over half the backyard, you can still waste water if it never reaches the deeper roots. In this next video, I'll show you exactly how we built our root straw watering system using PVC pipe and recycled water bottles, where we place them beside our plants in the plant bed, and how they help deliver water beneath the surface. Tap the video on your screen right now, and let's build one together.